Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm going to talk about what it means to have your sun square to someone's Saturn in Synastry or vice versa. Talking about all the squares today, the tough aspects, these difficult ones that come with a lot of growth. So the sun square to Saturn in Synastry is a very karmic aspect. And it can show that issues with the father and the inner image of the masculine are being brought to the surface because the sun and Saturn can represent the father in astrology, and Jupiter too. Jupiter square Saturn is another interesting one with father issues, but this one specifically can show that the sun person can feel like the Saturn person is the critical father image, like, and the sun person can feel like their light is not seen by the Saturn person, and they can really want it to be seen. They can really like struggle to try to be seen as good and really want to be seen by the Saturn person, and the Saturn person just constantly can criticize or shut them down or just simply not see the good qualities of their sun, because for the Saturn person, the Saturn, like, that's like their energy of their karma, and where they really struggle and feel like they need to be better, and then they just don't really understand the sun person. They're just coming from a totally different energy as far as this exchange, and they just don't really appreciate those qualities as much. They can see the sun person as like more superficial, or just not like, the sun person isn't like an image of like high status to them. They can kind of look down on them. And there's other potential manifestations of this. You have to look at the whole charts here, like, because you could have Saturn square sun, but then you could have like Saturn trine moon or something. So then, like, you have this, on the one hand, there is this sort of critical energy towards the person's sun, but then the person's moon feels really, emotionally cared for. So you have to look at like what else is going on. But if this aspect is happening on its own, or like this is the closest aspect by orb, it's a really tricky one where it can be really difficult, specifically on the sun person, to feel like they can be themselves. Like, how some people, you just feel like you can be yourself, and you can, like, you feel confident, you feel like capable, right? And when we have this aspect in Synastry, the sun person can feel really incapable and really not confident, and like where they usually feel confident in their life and like they shine and like on purpose, the Saturn person can kind of suck that right out of them, and they can feel more insecure. Now, in some types of relationships, you could see the Saturn person like being kind of like controlling over the sun person. Like, maybe, yeah, the sun person feels this lack of confidence, so then the Saturn person can come in like the toxic daddy energy, like, oh, okay, you're incapable, well, I'll just do everything then. And like, it can sort of show this toxic aspect where the sun person is really not in power, and the Saturn person is really controlling. And yeah, it can be like one of those abusive relationships. And you have to look at everything. You could have other beautiful aspects that would make this not so bad, but the theme of this 10th square is a controlling father figure or a critical father figure, and we're trying to get daddy's love. And this is for men and women. Like, the sun person could be a man too. It's the same thing. And like the Saturn person is just not giving of it. They're just not The sun person's like, look, daddy, look at what I've done today. And the Saturn person's like, no, you suck. Like, keep trying, keep working. So on the one hand, this can be a very motivating aspect where, we actually are focused on work. We're focused on becoming better. We're focused on, improvement. Like, depending on the sun person's self-esteem, like maybe they just use this as motivation. Like, you know what? I do need to get my shit together in the realm of my sun, right? Like, I need to improve, and the Saturn person is helping me do that. Even if they feel a little bit harsh at times, right? And you have to look at the Saturn person's Saturn. Like, my Saturn is in Pisces. And, when my Saturn is square someone's sun, then sometimes my moon, Mars are trine and sextile it because I've got my moon and Mars are in conjunct with my Saturn. So, like, it's not so severe. Like, I don't feel like my Saturn and Pisces is, like, as critical of a father figure as, some other Saturns might be, right? But still, my Saturn in Pisces has wisdom in regards to emotions and addictions and escapism. And so sometimes my Saturn could, really teach them a lesson on those things when I've got these freaking crazy Gemini suns or Sag suns, and I, get it together, you guys, emotionally, right? That's what my Saturn would say, because my Saturn's in Pisces. But other Saturns, right, like someone's Saturn is in a, more dominating sign, like maybe Saturn in Leo or Scorpio or something, they could potentially be more controlling or more critical of the person in just a different way, right? So you have to look at the signs always and like what energy interplay is taking place here. But with the energy of the square, it is tension, and the square is kind of like a constant butting of heads, right? It's like, yeah, you want to bang your head against the wall because this person just does not get it, right? But there is more potential for growth and overcoming of challenges than potentially any other aspect. Because the square is so constantly difficult, it does kind of force you to have some type of lesson learned. And, really with the realms of Sun and Saturn, the Sun person can actually grow to become more whole and more confident and more secure and more on path and on purpose. And the Saturn person can really learn a lot about, their inner authority, their inner father figure as well, and really become more stronger in that overcoming of those challenges as represented by their Saturn. So they can both become better people because of this aspect. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen because this one can be very annoying, that the people can end up bitter and, not feeling very good about each other. It's, especially in fixed signs, I feel like it's more difficult because fixed signs do not want to be told what to do or how to do it. And they are not as open to feedback or change, right? So there can be a lot of hurt feelings with this. There can be a lot of hard feelings, and it is one of the more difficult squares to have in Synastry. It's not insurmountable, depending on the people, but it is a hard relationship. It is a tough one. It is a learning one. It's a karmic one. It's a daddy issues, father issues healing relationship. It's not lighthearted. And you could have other things going on that would make it light. Let's say you had beautiful overlays and air houses and, other Venus things and Jupiter and wonderful stuff. Then yes, maybe this will be not so difficult. But there will be that underlying theme of insecurity and like they just don't feel as confident together as other couples would. Now, the trine is so different from the square in this particular case. Like, I'll have to talk about that in a video. The square between Sun and Saturn, it is hard to be a couple because our backgrounds don't allow it. Like, we have very different images of the father, right? And it's a struggle to be together. But if we have a purpose together, if our souls are meant to be together, then we just learn so much from this aspect. But yeah, it's a tough one. I'd love to know your experiences of it. Was it like this? Yeah, and I'm doing your request. This video was requested. Yeah, I'd love to know any other videos you guys want me to talk about. I'm trying to do them all, and I do offer one-on-one sessions. My links are below. Thanks for watching. Okay, love you guys, and sending all my love and hugs if you have this aspect in your relationship chart. It's tough, but I hope you have other beneficial aspects, which I'm sure you do. There's always a mix of difficult and beneficial, right? And actually the difficult aspects can be the most beneficial because we learn, right? Okay, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.